Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Friday the 9th of July 2021. Today in Millwall News we have the interview that George Saville did this week with the Suffolk News, and this is from news@zen.co.uk. And let's have a little read of it. It says George Saville and why wanted Millwall return, playing back at the Den and aspirations for the season. George Saville reckons he has unfinished business at Millwall and says that he's returned with the hope of achieving something special in SE16. Saville, 28, became Gary Rowett's fifth summer edition last Friday when he sealed a sensational return to the Den for what will be his fourth spell with the club. He enjoyed two brief loan stints with the Lions as a youngster before signing permanently following their promotion through the playoffs under Neil Harris 2017. Saville quickly became a key part of the midfield alongside Sean Williams, scoring a career-high 10 championship goals to help Millwall finish 8th, narrowly missing out on the top 6 despite going 17 matches without losing. However, he left to join Middlesbrough on deadline day at the beginning of the 2018-19 season, although he said that he never wanted to leave in the first place. It was difficult. We had a fantastic group there and had an unbelievable season. It was probably my best season to date on a personal level. But at the time, Middlesbrough were going for automatic promotion and were throwing big money around. So it was a decision taken out of Mill's hands and my hands because of the money that was being paid. It was not a case of wanting to leave. I didn't want to leave. It was a case of this is what's happening and it's out of your hands, you know. You know what they say, don't go back to a place that you've been. We came up to the championship and came 8th. It was a little bit of a rocky season after that. But the last 2 years have been stable. The managers come in and push the club in the right direction. So I wanted to come back and I wanted to achieve something special. This is my fourth spell now. Since Kenny Jackett gave me the opportunity to experience first team football here, I've always looked out for the club, tracked the club, and I've always been happy to see them do well. And even when I do leave and I'm older, I will always follow Millwall. Saville had just 1 year left on his Borough deal, but until recently hadn't considered a return to South Bermondsey. However, when the chance presented itself to the midfielder, turning it down never crossed his mind. Saville said, "My agent came to me and said there was interest and a deal could be done, so I spoke to Middlesbrough, and it suited everyone. I was heading into my last year, so it suited Borough and suited myself because everyone knows that I'm very fond of Millwall Football Club." Towards the end of the season, there was nothing, no talks, really. It was a busy season, but I had international fixtures to play as well, so I didn't think too much about it. And then towards the end of June, there was talks, and then when they gave me the decision, it was a no-brainer. But why is now the right time for Saville to return for a fourth stint at the Den? The club are progressing, the 28-year-old amid. The last couple of years, they've had good finishes in the league. And speaking to people at the football club, they were quite disappointed with that. The boys won once in 15, so a couple of wins in there, and they could have finished higher. So just the progression of the club, stability of the club, financially it's very well run football club, fantastic owner, and obviously the manager is taking the football club in the right direction. So there's a lot to admire here, and I want to be part of it. Millwall finished 8th in Saville's last season and repeated that feat in Rowett's first year at the club before coming close again in 2021, eventually falling short and coming 11th. Despite 5 impressive signings already made by the Lions boss, few will have Millwall as one of those sides to finish in these top 6 positions, but Saville knows that anything can happen in one of the most unpredictable leagues in the world. He said, "I would say there's probably about 16 clubs in the championship, that can make the playoffs. I think it's about making sure we start well and give us a platform to really kick on towards the end of the season. There's a fantastic group of lads already here, a good spine. So for the new lads that have signed, hopefully we're just adding the quality to that. He's a good manager. He seems a good guy. I've heard good things about him. He's got a proven track record at previous clubs. So for me, really, it's about getting the trust from him and working hard to do my best so I can perform to the best of my ability." Saville has played in front of some memorable atmospheres at the Den, perhaps none better than against Fulham at the end of the 2017-18 season. But following 18 months without supporters, he cannot wait to hear them back in action. "I'm buzzing," said the midfielder. "The last 18 months has been really difficult. There's some games that have been flat, but especially with Mill fans there, I'm buzzing for that first game. I experienced then the London games, Leeds at home, the Norwich game at home when we were 4-0. The atmosphere is unbelievable, and the players, they're as excited as the fans are about coming back. So there you go. That was George Saville interview with Southwark News at Den. One and the same. Not really adding anything to that we didn't know, but you can see he's very happy now and seems very motivated. So hopefully he stays fit, and if he does, we'll do what we need him to do on the pitch. Moving on now, this story is from the londonnewsonline.co.uk, which is the South London Press's online website, and it says Millwall boss working with same squad budget as previous windows. Gary Rowett has confirmed that Millwall's squad expenditure has stayed the same as other recent transfer windows. The Lions have tended to largely shop in the free agents and loan market since the 47-year-old succeeded Neil Harris. George Saville, sold to Middlesbrough for $7.5 million, returned at the end of last week for an undisclosed fee. We're working on the same budget as previous windows, the same parameters, said Rowett. We spent less in the windows we've been here than had spent previously. But we were looking at one target earlier in the summer who looked like it was going to cost well over $1 million, and John Berylson was very open to it. It's about strengthening the team and trying to do that within reasonable parameters, which is probably why the club are in a very good position this year, because they have been so sensible over the years. I don't see not spending lots and lots of money as a barrier. We have to do it in a fair and reasonable way for the club, particularly after the difficult year that most clubs have had. They'll all be conscious of not having any income from fans. I'm certainly grateful for the business that we've done. So there's Rowett there, and I'm just going to put my little spin on it, reading between the lines. So we spent less in the windows than have been spent previously. So little dig at Neil Harris there. I don't know, maybe because Gary Rowett does have a reputation of I think at Stoke and Birmingham of spending a lot of money at those clubs and not really doing it. The fans of those clubs just remember him as someone who went on a shopping spree, bringing in all these players, and then he ends up getting a sack and the players are still there, and slowly they drip away because no one really wants to sign them, except for Gary Rowett. When he goes to another club, he goes back to the clubs that he was at and tries to sign the same players which we've seen, because he signed Benik Afobe, Ryan Woods, George Evans, Mason Bennett, all players that he's worked with previously at Derby or Stoke or Birmingham. So yeah, and so we've got the quote here about the target. It was going to cost over $1 million. Was that Josh Windass? So if they knew it was going to cost over $1 million, why did they offer 400k? Or is that true? Is that not true? Was that put out by Sheffield Wednesday? Maybe trying to muddy the waters by putting it saying we bid 400k when it wasn't 400k. Who knows? So that didn't really happen. So here we go. So speaking of transfers and transfer windows and the like, I've got this news, not Millwall news really, but it's about our league. 3 of Millwall's championship rivals under transfer embargo, EFL confirmed. So this is from gazettelive.co.uk. They cover Middlesbrough, that's why Middlesbrough's in the title there. So the EFL have now set up a dedicated embargo reporting service listing the clubs placed under restrictions and the reasons why, which is probably kind of useful because all of this stuff was kind of hush rumours. You had to be in the know to know, but now they are putting it on their website. So let's have a read of this. When it scrolls down, it's so slow and buggy because it's trying to load up 100 friggin' ads. 3 of Middlesbrough's Championship rivals are under a transfer embargo. It was confirmed on Wednesday night. Derby County, Reading and Hull have all been placed under restrictions and, with just a month or two until the new season, are limited to what they can do in the transfer market. EFL clubs last month approved an amendment to regulations to allow the league to publish a list of those under embargo. So they couldn't. It was against the rules. It had to be secret. So all the clubs voted on it, and now they can publish it. So that's why this is being done. They changed the rules. So that I imagine all the other clubs. All the other clubs knew, but it wasn't public until it leaks out and there's rumours and stuff. But now it's actually official. No skullduggery behind the scenes stuff. So the EFL have now set up a dedicated embargo reporting service listing the clubs placed under restrictions and the reasons why. The clubs under embargo can still sign players this summer, but the transfers must be subject to certain criteria. In short, the clubs can still make loan signings or bring in free agents, but only if they have less than 23 players of professional standing in their squad. So, okay. So I imagine that doesn't include youth players. So this is effectively what they're doing in League 1 and League 2, but so this is going to be in the Championship as well. Technically, they're doing it to the embargo clubs because they were trying to introduce squad limits, or they are introducing squad limits in League 1 and League 2. They were trying to do 18 players, which is absolutely ridiculous for a league that plays 46 games a season. So, but now it's 23. So, okay. So if they have less than 23 players of professional standing in their squad, they can sign players. With loan signings, the clubs under embargo can't pay a fee and are unable to pay additional wages on top of the salary the player receives at their parent club, and the loan is limited to half a season. So rules and rules and rules and rules, extra rules. So the clubs under embargo can't pay a fee, so they can't pay a transfer fee or loan fee, and are unable to pay additional wages on top of the salary the player receives at their parent club. Is that possible? I didn't even know they could do that. So if someone's on £1,000 a week, if they go out on loan, I assume if it's to a place they don't want to go to, then the place they're loaning them to can say, oh, we'll give you an extra 500k a week. So they end up paying 1,500 a week. Is that how that works? I didn't even know it. I thought clubs would pay less money than the wages at their club. Well, you live and learn something every day, don't you? So, and then they've got this stuff about Middlesbrough. I don't care about that. Derby are under embargo due to a number of breaches, all listed on the new embargo reporting service, which I will show you shortly. The Rams have been punished for failure to provide audited annual accounts. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, so basically, we've got as much as we can out of this story. Now I'm going to move on, and I'm going to show you what they were talking about at the end there. So this is it. This is the publishing of the embargoes imposed on various clubs. So I think they published the rules as well that we just saw about the loans and that, and the 23 players and stuff. But I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to show you the teams that are under embargo and why. So we've got Derby County, failure to provide audited annual accounts not filed with Companies House, default in payments to Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, default in paying transfer fee instalments, submission of audited accounts. Hull City, conditions under monitored loan agreement. I don't know what that is. Reading, breach of profit and sustainability rules. So that's the financial fair play, I believe, that it's commonly referred to. And in League 1 we've got Fleetwood Town, Gillingham, Gillingham haven't filed accounts with Companies House. So if you're thinking about having a bet on the season, who's going to go up, maybe who's going to go down, Fleetwood and Gillingham from League One. In League Two, Oldham, Scunthorpe and Swindon Town look very Swindon Town look to be in the do. There you go. Defaults to HMRC. Non-payment to football creditors. Could they go out of business? Maybe they might fold before the season ends. Could be that bad. So there you go. So on the EFL, they have a website now. Anytime a club will be on the naughty step for financial stuff and have transfer embargoes posed on them, it will be on the EFL official site, efl.com. /more/governance/embargoes. Or just come onto the EFL.com home site and search embargo in the search box. So what does that mean for Millwall? Well, probably means we're got a little bit of a boost in terms of automatically having enough quality and enough of a well-run club to be firmly placed in the middle, even if we don't play that well, even if we get a few injuries, because there are clubs that are absolute basket cases in this league. Bristol City are not too good. Reading, Hull, Derby are very there's talk that they might get a penalty points deduction. So if they get a points deduction, it's likely that they will end up filling up one of the relegation spots. So that leaves 2 left. And as I think we saw last season, if you've only got 2 relegation spots realistically to play for, that makes the mid-table larger, because there's less threat of clubs being dragged into the clubs are fighting for against relegation will be smaller, because there's only 2 places realistically to play for. If someone's got like a 20 point, 30 point deduction, they're effectively down. And effectively, how will all the players play? Will they play that well? Will they even field a competitive team that might already be putting out a League One quality team, because that's all they can afford? Maybe even worse than that. So they'll be the whipping boys of the league. Yes, so there you go. Embargoes, transfer embargoes. So talking about transfers as well, we've got some news ex-Millwall. This is from BromleyFC.tv, and former Millwall player of last season, Sam Skeffington, has signed for Bromley. He was at Barnet. He was on loan at Barnet at the end of the season. I actually thought he did sign for Barnet, so I don't know. I swear he did sign for Barnet, so I don't know what's happened there. He's signed for Bromley now. Yep, and he'll be with them for next season. So Sam Skeffington signing for Bromley, which is good to see. We've seen James Brown signed for St Johnstone. We've seen quite a few players who were released last season signing on with teams, which is good to see, especially in this atmosphere. So moving on as well, we have this story. Sid Nelson signs for Northampton Town. So Sid Nelson signs for our former, what would you call them, bogey team. We always seem to draw them in the League Cup or the FA Cup, and they are absolutely annoying. They always kind of beat us or just annoy us. So Northampton Town he signed on a 1-year contract. 25 years old now. Been a while, isn't it? He was at Tranmere last season. There you go. So he's at Northampton Town, which is good to see. I hope he does well. Good luck to him. Now, moving on to the final story. If you're still with us, thank you for staying this along. So, of course, we have the big game on Sunday. We've got a game tomorrow against Motherwell, Millwall, 12 o'clock. noon. Keep an eye on that. I'll tell you about it in tomorrow's video. Now, on Sunday we got the even bigger game, the England game, of course, and Millwall are showing it outside the ground in the SE16 bus bar. Apparently, the game against Denmark was a sight to behold, rocking there. And of course, that game went into extra time. So you can imagine this final game, 8 o'clock Sunday night, it's going to kick off. That means the 90 minutes is up at 9:45. If it goes to extra time, it's going to be 10:30. It's going to be a late night there at the Den. So, this is from millfc.co.uk. So stadium opening times on Monday the 12th of July. Following England's progression to the Euro 2020 final on Sunday, the Den will not be open till 11 AM on Monday the 12th of July, as well as Millwall's ticket office and Lions store. Sales of 21-22 season tickets and memberships will be unavailable in person or by phone until 11 AM. However, online sales via millwalltickets.com will still be available. Supporters wishing to purchase items through the Lions store can still do so online at shop.millwallfc.co.uk. So there you go. So they can watch the game and have a little stay up late, and they'll wake up with a hangover and drag themselves down to the Den in time for 11 AM opening. But you imagine if we do win, I don't think anyone's going to be down there because everyone's going to be the same. It's just going to be jubilation everywhere, isn't it? But it's going to be a pretty tough game against Italy. Italy are very good. I tipped Italy up before the tournament. One of my mates asked me, who do you think's? What do you reckon? Who's gonna win? And I said Italy. They haven't lost a game in about 30 games. So yeah, well they did lose the one of the group games, didn't they? I'm not sure about that. So they've been very, and the thing is the thing with the Italians. Is that Serie A and was a really good league, and then it kind of wobbled off, and it went a bit shit, and that affected the national team as well. I think they had like a recession or something. Something happened there. Maybe the 2008 recession or something like that. So the Italian football was kind of in the doldrums, and we had the advancement of the French winning things. The Belgium's getting good, and that kind of thing. Plus, we've had the World Cup going around the world. It went to South Africa and went to Brazil. The Italians not really doing that well, but when it's in Europe, they do kind of well. So as well as the Italians, like I said, they had a kind of really bad time for Serie A and Italian football in general, with the Juventus scandal as well, bribery stuff. So, and they had the thing with the Italians, they got a lot of quality players, but they stayed quality for a long time. See Buffon, the goalkeeper, some of the defenders, Parisi, was it Martini? Was it Maldini? So they're really good, but for a long time, and they don't want to give it up. They're like, who was the guy at Roma, the striker? You know the one I'm talking about. He's only just retired the other year, but he's like 36. But they're very arrogant. Like they keep on going until they're told, mate, you're like 40 years old. Fuck off. We got these kids we need to play, and that's what's happened. They've brought in the youngsters now, and all these youngsters come in, like the goalkeeper and various other youngsters of a generation, and they've been working together and getting better and better. Now they can actually play, and then they're not being kept out of the team by these older statesmen who don't know when to leave. And we're seeing them like flourishing, getting better and better. And I think I'm kind of worried that, especially the way the England team celebrated after the Denmark game. It's like you won a semi-final. You didn't win the final. What are you fucking celebrating for? It's like their goal was to get to the final and they achieved it, so they're fucking celebrating. It's like, mate, if you want to be fucking 30 big bollocks, go to the fucking final like you've been there before and fucking win that and then celebrate. I'm just kind of worried now is that it's gonna be what is it? It's yeah. I'm kind of worried that the Italians might actually win and win quite comfortably. I hope I'm wrong, but the kind of signs are there, and I think what we might be seeing is the Italians rising to like a generation thing. I think we got the Belgians slipping off now. They didn't really win anything. They played quite well attacking football, and the Italians, they changed their game against them. They knew that the Belgians, they couldn't defend. Now the Italians like defending. They like a clean sheet, but I think they knew they couldn't keep the Belgians out for 90 minutes, so they changed their game, and they knew, right, okay, we're gonna have to score 2 goals against these guys, and we're gonna defend like we normally do, and if we're lucky, they'll only get 1 goal, but we have to score 2. So I think they knew that, and they did a job against the Belgians. I watched that game, and I was kind of impressed with Italy. So I don't know. I'm a bit worried. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Millwall against Motherwell midday. We'll see how that goes, and then we'll see how England get on in the final against Italy. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.